The African Higher Education Summit may have come and gone, but the outcomes of the discussions and resolutions will definitely be felt in higher education institutions across the continent for days to come. The event saw vice-chancellors of public and private institutions, lecturers, heads of regulatory commissions, and members of supporting organizations come together to discuss the higher education scene so far and ways to make the sector more relevant to the continent's growing needs.
Now we have not just left the universities function because they are universities. We have to see to it that policies which can make it function adequately are there. That is the quality assurance, the accreditation process, and the assessment mechanism. If these are not in place, then the higher education will not even be checked. The things we talk about, the level of higher education these days has dropped, will actually be very much expanded. And therefore, we have put those policies so that the kind of output in our universities is qualitative and universal, if not African. We said we have established strong primary education. We did this through the curriculum. And this, for us as an Africans, we also would like to have, if our academics can work a kind of a common curriculum for our higher institutions, if they can do that. Because we in South Sudan, as I said, we are at the bench of copying. We modify what we see from other countries.
Among the things we have tried to do is the following. First of all, we identified places that really were providing very good education, places that were nearby. The foundation has or is in the process of educating more than 10,000 young men and women, increased attention to women, in secondary and tertiary education at institutions in Africa, often institutions that are close to their homes in 24 different countries on the continent.
In Ethiopia, we focus more on science and technology. It does not mean that we don't need social science and humanities. But we set a 70-30 program in which 70% enrollment is in science and technology and 30% enrollment is in social science and humanities. It's just a number. Otherwise, we need also those quality social scientists and as well as the area of humanities. Out of all the enrollment we have, again 70-30, that 40% of our students actually goes to engineering and technology. And out of this engineering and technology, 40% of them goes to civil engineering. So this, when we actually said that the economy is going to move from agricultural-led towards industry, that we need more people graduated in science and technology. So to do so, now, what we have to take into account is actually the mindset of every citizen. So people will say, why science and technology? Why social science is not required? Then that mindset, changing the mindset, the thinking level of our community is also one of the primary goals on which we have to work.
Comptroller Immigration Service Mrs. Funke Adeoye has told members of the service to remain neutral and impartial during the elections. She said this in Cross River State at a one-day sensitization workshop aimed at educating some personnel of the institution that have been shortlisted to participate in the elections. Mrs. Adeoye said elections succeed through fairness and transparency and revealed that men of the command have participated in trainings organized by the National Security Advisor because of the 2015 general elections. She is quoted as saying, "We are non-partisan. We belong to no political group and we are not expected to canvass votes for any political party or politician. We are deploying our men to go out there and perform their duties with a high sense of national interest. They are to protect every Nigerian that is available at the polling units on election days. I can assure you that our officers are well behaved and trained and they are expected to carry out their constitutional duties as expected." Also at the seminar, an official, Mr. Aminu Abubakar, presented a paper titled Standard of Operational Guidelines for Security Officers on Election Day. According to him, Officers and men of the NIS need to create an enabling environment for the electorate to vote without any intimidation and for foreign observers to freely observe the process without fear of harassment. He said, "As men of the NIS, you are expected to verify all electoral materials before escorting same to different polling units. Don't intimidate any voter because you are wearing uniform. Be neutral in your conduct." And in a totally unusual move, especially in the context of African politics, President Macky Sall of Senegal has confirmed his plan to shorten his 7-year term by 2 years. This is one African leader who has no plans of manipulating his privileges to extend his office. The president didn't indicate whether he intended to run for a second term and is quoted by The Guardian as saying, "Have you ever seen presidents reduce their mandates? Well, I'm going to do it. We have to understand, in Africa too, that we are able to offer an example and that power is not an end in itself." The president's move, according to him, will require a revision of the constitution, first on the mandate and then on some other aspects to strengthen our democracy. He also indicated that he would want the vote to take place in May next year. Very interesting move, we think. And in Ghana, the Gomoa West District Coordinator of Special Education, Madam Magita Amamil, has appealed to parents of children with special needs not to ignore them, but to invest in educating the children by equipping them with the tools for improving their teaching and learning. She made the appeal at the 10th anniversary celebration of Mephiboseth Training Center, an educational facility for physically and mentally challenged children at Gomoa Ankamu. Madam Mill commended the founder of the school for his immense contribution in establishing these schools to cater for children with special needs. She added that the government understands the importance of educating children with special needs with the establishment of special schools and the current policy of inclusive education. The Gomoa West District Chief Executive, Mr. Theophilus Idumensa, also speaking at the event, appealed to philanthropists, corporate bodies, and well-to-do citizens to complement the efforts of government and the assembly to make these children achieve their dreams by donating tools and equipment necessary to empower them. He reminded assembled guests that the school was founded through personal philanthropy and would need support to continue as a non-profit institution. Special guest Professor Bani Nakasuji from University of Southern California promised to strengthen the relations of the university and the center to benefit students.
Interesting news from Dr. Bright Okogu on today's Still on the Matter. He says, political office holders' salaries are being cut by between 20 to 30%, ranging from permanent secretaries, directors general, and so on all the way to ministers.